Hi, and welcome to this new podcast of McCall. This time it's the subject OpenAI. So that's a hot topic. So today with me, we got two, how am I going to call you? Let me redo that. Can you introduce yourselves? So on this side, I have Michel. Michel, can you introduce Jacques to us?
Oh, that is, I think I can. Jacques Klaassen, he's the CTO of McCall, responsible for the long-term vision, so long, like 10 years from now. He does a lot of, staring out the window and figuring out where technology is going, looking at the Gartner hype cycles and Forrester stuff, combining that all together into a, nice, concrete for relative purposes vision, and promotes that within McCall and also gives me the direction on where to move next.
Cool. Jacques, why did you bring Michel along then?
Yeah, when I'm looking in out of the window, but I'm trying to create the vision what will happen in the next 3 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as it gets a little bit concrete, so Microsoft is turning it on, then it's all about how can we implement this and when is the technology really ready.
Yeah.
So when it's the difference between cutting and bleeding technology.
Yeah.
And that's the part where Michel comes in to find out, okay, is it already in that phase and can we bring it to the customers?
Yeah. So you are talking about cutting edge technology.
Yeah.
And Michel, you are talking about ready to use technology.
Ready to use, can we actually explore it from a more of an architectural and developer standpoint? Can we actually use it at our customers?
Yeah.
Is it something that we want to promote with our customers, make a proposition around, or is it more like on the innovation, research and development phase, and more explore it? Let's put it that way.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about OpenAI, and with these two people on the table, Michel, Jacques, we're going to take you through, okay, so what's the horizon in a few years' time? Where are we heading to? And what can we do today to make sure that we're ready for that? And we are grasping the real value of that technology that has been out there for quite a while, but now seems to be getting at a point where it's entering our day-to-day life. So let's start, Michel, with current state. Because the hype is on, OpenAI. Where are we now exactly?
I think ChatGPT proved that large language models are now out in the open. A lot of people are using it. I think it went up to, I don't know how many users in less than a couple of months. And now, with the financial backing of Microsoft, but also Microsoft is putting it out in the open with Azure OpenAI. So everybody, definitely from a developer standpoint or us using those technology stacks, we can now use Azure OpenAI in the different language models to actually make solutions. And it's definitely in the exploratory phase. So figuring out what it can do, how are we going to do the prompt design, how are we going to feed it the right data, and I think the most important part, I think the most important part is what can it do? Yeah. Where's the value? What are the important things that we expect this AI to work for us? Is it
in
like
the current state as it is
as it is right now? I think everybody in the market right now is looking for those perfect use cases. You see a lot of startups coming. Yeah. You see a lot of businesses playing around with it, and all just figuring out: is this just another chatbot? Is it something that is going to be the new virtual assistant within my company? Yeah. Is this maybe even the new accountant? Because you see a lot of, because it's a large language model, you see a lot of stuff around accountancy, mathematics, content creation, using it a lot.
Yeah, coding.
Coding. So it's definitely exploring what can it do, what is the right use case, what is the right value case. Yeah. So you see a lot of nice chaos around in the market on figuring out where are we going to use it, what is the next best thing to do this for.
Okay.
So it's quite an exciting time, I think.
Yeah. And Jacques, can you, on a high level, can you take us a bit in how do we get here? Because artificial intelligence has been around for such a long time, and now it seems to combust. Somehow a few things come together, like Michel is already saying, the large language models. What are the big steps we have taken to come to this point, and what are the big steps that we take after this point?
And then in 15 minutes, yes. Now,
yes, please.
Yeah, yes, please. AI has been around, I think, decades already.
Yeah.
So if you look into in the past, in the early 50s, already there were some chatbots around, all very basic and essential.
Yeah, sure.
So we are thinking on this a lot. I think in the 80s we saw a little bit of data mining popping up, and that's basically a part of AI. But we use that in a kind of exploratory phase, laboratory phase. Okay, can we put it to use to predict specific things in the future?
Yeah.
And when you look to AI as a whole, it's a kind of generic. There are three phases in AI, which you called ANI. It's artificial narrow intelligence. And that's the phase we are currently in.
Yeah.
And that's the application of AI doing one single human task.
Yeah.
For example, creating content.
Yeah. So this is what you see happening a lot right now in this, what Microsoft calls co-piloting.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a task and I get my AI buddy in there, and that buddy's helping me doing that task.
Yeah, and that task, he can do it on a human way, so as good as a human on that specific task.
So that part of it, performing like a human, that's the trigger right now.
Yeah, and that's single tasking.
Yeah, single tasking, acting like a human.
Exactly. Okay. The next phase we are about to enter, and I think that will happen in the next decade, is that we can be on the equivalent on a human on all tasks. Okay. And that's called artificial general intelligence.
Yeah.
And what you now see with the generative AI, what we're now seeing with what Microsoft is doing, is basically a step towards that decade. So we are really stepping up on it.
Yeah.
In which we combine huge sets of data.
Yeah.
And it can be documents, it can be normal data, whatever.
Yeah.
On a level that we as humans can't comprehend anymore.
Yeah.
It's too complex.
Yeah.
And that engine combines it to a kind of useful information to create content for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a step towards that new decade.
Yeah.
And that new decade is all about, for a lot of people, what we know as the fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah.
That we can create complete autonomous systems.
Yes. Okay.
And I think a good example still is the cars we are driving currently, autonomous cars.
Yeah.
But that's still a kind of early stage.
Yeah.
What's going on around there?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we are now entering the phase that we are able to combine huge sets of data that we can compute on that date really quick, what could be a kind of prediction for the future.
Yeah.
And when that comes together, okay, we ultimately will go to something that's humanoid.
Yeah. Okay. So that is the third horizon, way past that, also generic artificial intelligence.
Yeah, that's we expect that in the next 2 decades we're going to be on the level of humans.
Yeah.
And then when you read articles, they say around 2040, 2050.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be the next level.
Yeah.
That it will outperform humans.
Yeah. So there's a lot of dimensions when you're talking about this topic. And this is what we see in the clutter of all the news that is around this topic. So we see companies struggling with, and people struggling with, hey, what can I do with AI today? Like you say, Michel, what are the use cases?
Yeah.
Where's the value? How can I, be more effective, efficient? Starting from how we work today. And on the other hand, there's a lot of other topics around it, but these are more related to the future. The generic artificial intelligence, like you said, the humanoid stuff. Then you're talking also about, hey, what's the ethical part of AI and that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's zoom in first at the value cases and the use cases right now. Michel, what are use cases that we see currently on the table?
There's been a lot of talk or research going around with your own virtual assistant.
Yeah.
I used to laugh about this because everybody has the Google Assistant or Siri and whatever, and definitely I have a big problem with Google right now, because if I want to turn on the lights, it sets a timer, and if I want to set a timer, it turns on the lights. So I never really thought that would be a valid use case. But you definitely see with AI in this stage, from an OpenAI perspective, there's going to be a lot of talk about these virtual assistants that are actually going to help me in my job. And you see even what's happening with ChatGPT, that content creators or people who write articles, even if they're scientific articles, not just the marketing part, that the basis is already being done by ChatGPT.
So we could have had ChatGPT talking to itself in a podcast, and us going drink coffee. And
the weird part is, and this will accelerate on what's going on. There are these type of AIs that are training themselves. So the basic understanding was like, we need to feed it data, because the more data, the more unpredicted the behavior of the AI will become, and the more stuff we can do with it. But right now there are examples of where a model is generating their own text and then learning from it. Models that are playing chess or Go with itself in like an hour and play like 40,000 matches and just become better and better. So that will, I think when we're talking about decades, to me it's more like years where we're coming to these sort of, it goes faster and faster. That is just what I want to say. So go looking back at the use cases. There is stuff going on recognizing from just camera work, recognizing the workplace, recognizing the workers, and looking at what are dangerous situations. So definitely for factory plants, even just using the cameras that you have right now, you can use your model on it and see where are the dangerous stuff. Talking about self-driving cars, talking about the virtual assistants, even helping visually impaired people. So just having your phone on you, looking through the grocery store, and it actually tells you like, hey, you're looking at a box of peanut butter. Which is something that we used to do with human interaction.
So it's a lot about that buddy stuff. I'm your artificial intelligence buddy, and I'm helping you to go faster, improve yourself, research faster,
but there's also
produce faster.
There's also the downside to it. I'm not sure who's using Snapchat or that sort of stuff. My daughter uses it. Snapchat now has my AI in it. So my daughter has a virtual friend powered by ChatGPT, which she can talk to day and night. Not sure what he's going to say to her. But that is the other part on it. Those virtual assistants that are going to be there for you every day, every moment of the day. So when your friends are asleep, you talk to your AI part. But that is more for the more ethical and moral discussion.
Well, it's good that you address the topic. Jacques, I've heard you talk about ethical issues and AI a lot in the last few years. What's your opinion on how scared should we be? Because I see a lot of companies that are operating in this field making promises, but can I trust that? That's making me itchy.
I think trust is there the good word to pronounce. If you look to AI, as more as we get used to it, as more it incorporates in our life, like the friend of your daughter, can you trust that guy, that virtual guy? I think that's the base answer. And we have had already lessons on that one. I think a few years ago, Cambridge Analytica was around. And that proved
Exactly.
that AI is not the dangerous friend, but the guys and girls using AI.
Yeah.
And if you can apply that on a big group of people, then you basically are able to manipulate what's going on over there.
Yeah.
On intent or with the wrong information or whatever.
Yeah.
So this field is going so fast that we have to set a kind of boundaries ourselves. Okay, what do we expect of it? Can we even regulate it? Yes or no?
Yeah.
So there comes ethics and responsible AI comes around.
Yeah.
And I think the basic should not be the law. But okay, as a company, when you apply AI towards your customers, can you be transparent about it? Can you tell your customers, I'm using it because of?
Yeah.
And I think if you do that in a kind of transparent way, then you can gain trust, because then I can see the application of AI.
Yeah.
And if companies don't do that, then we will hit or run into an ethical trap, like I said. And that will stall, in my opinion, the development of AI.
Yeah, but we're entering an interesting area here, because in business competition, organizations, when they compete with each other, they try to outsmart the other one, be more effective, have a better process, be quicker, be cheaper, all that kind of stuff. And you don't want to share those company secrets in how you do that. On the other hand, when you're using AI, you need to be transparent, like you say. You need to inform your customers in, hey, this is where we're coming from. Yeah. And these are our ethics. These are our beliefs. Can you relate this also to why we are so much focused on purpose and diversity and inclusion as topics in this zeitgeist that we're seeing?
And then in regard to AI?
Yeah, because it seems to interact. So societal trends seem to interact with technology trends. And it seems like it's a counter movement to focus on inclusivity, and diversity and, purpose and all that kind of stuff as a counterweight to the AI and technology push that's around there.
Oh, we're really bringing into an ethical discussion almost. I think there is so much information out there currently, and so much information shared, that everybody is a kind of disturbed. Okay, what's really true? Is it true? What's the intent of information?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are getting a kind of scared. Okay, what is the intent of this? And does it mean that I'm included in a discussion on inclusivity or diversity or whatever?
Yeah.
And that has to do with the overload of information we are currently getting in.
Yeah.
And also that we don't trust that information anymore, because I think that's the big one currently.
Yeah.
We see so much information coming to us that we think we cannot trust anybody that sends it out. So going into the AI phase, I think we go outsmarting the competition.
Yeah.
I think you should not be afraid of the competition.
Yeah.
You should worry about your customers, because they will decide what's useful to them at the end of the show.
Yeah.
And it's all about this digital transformation. The customer will decide.
Yeah.
So if the customer doesn't trust you on the right application, he will
problem.
turn to a competitor.
Yeah.
So you have to find a balance. Okay, can I do my business more smart, more efficient in a way that I can outperform my competitor, but I can gain the trust of the customer.
So that leaves it to the balance in making sure that you have your stuff in order, your governance, your trust, your ethics, and that kind of stuff, but more focusing on value again. So we're back to the value cases, the use cases. And back to you then, Michel. If you are now working in a company and starting to, you're responsible for technology or that customer interaction, or, developing new business models or products or services, where to start with AI? Is it more focused on experimentation, or should you start with small services and try that and learn from that?
That's both. So yes, but that is a consultancy answer. I know that.
Yeah.
I think right now, our customers or companies have the possibility to use Azure OpenAI.
Yeah.
But I think the most important part is, where do they want to use it for?
Yeah.
Because they right now have, at least in an experimental phase, the chance to completely rethink what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Yeah.
Something that has never been possible before, unless with a lot of automation and a lot of development. So the use case was never there because it was just way too expensive.
Yeah.
But right now, with Azure OpenAI coming out in the open, with all the data that companies have been gathering over the years, there is right now the perfect opportunity to rethink on what if you had this perfect computer, this perfect virtual assistant that could help you in every layer of your company, either from sales, marketing, operations, finances. How would that look like?
Yeah.
And then, of course, start small, because if you think, well, I'm just going to completely let my company be run by AI, well, sorry, that's probably going to fail. So start small, but definitely think big, see where it ends up.
So if you're saying basically focus on customer engagement, how to find and interact and communicate with your customers. We also discussed the employee empowerment stuff. So how can we make sure we empower the employee with, that tooling, that buddy stuff to be more efficient? And on the other hand, the operational excellence. Are these the three big areas to focus on?
First one shortcut on this one. If you look to OpenAI, what we currently do, the GTP stuff, that's all about language models. So AI is far more than just language models.
Yeah.
It's just a small part of a bigger concept.
Yeah.
So if you look to Azure OpenAI and GTP, I think the first step companies have to make is really find out what value they have on their information. Because you think you have lots of information, like
they do have lots of information.
Documents around, all kind of databases. That companies have to find out when be able to combine that information. What will the information then be?
Yeah. So if you have the opportunity to tap into both structured and unstructured information,
all kinds
combine it, and then open up and then try to find new ways of productivity.
So first find out, okay, what is the new information I really have? Because that could set you into a motion, okay, if this is the information I really have, then I can do a better job on call center experiences or whatever, or provide better information to employees, which wasn't able to find before.
So it's about finding new value in the current set of information that you have.
And then I think what is outstanding on the Microsoft stack in the Azure OpenAI, you can do it with your own information as a company. So you don't share it out in the open with the public. You can do it with your own set of data.
There's enough skill in there.
There is enough skill in there. So it's also it will be hidden from your competition. So you can do it in your own environment. Find out what the value is that you have within your own company.
What about the concern that you're training then the model that will be used by the competitor as well?
It's been guaranteed by Microsoft that it won't happen. So it's on a contractual level. They won't do it.
Yeah, but then we still hit as soon as you gather all your information from your company and put it in this Azure OpenAI, then we still are back to the more ethical discussion of this. Which is important, because if you gather all that data, you don't know how your AI will develop. Will it be biased against, color, race, whatever? So I do think, and there is an awesome video on this part called The AI Dilemma by Tristan Harris and Asa Reskin.
We'll make sure that the link is in the stuff.
Which definitely explains more. It's an easy to watch, but if you're interested in AI and where it's going, it's awesome to just have it and spend an hour of your time looking at it. But definitely companies using this Azure OpenAI, I do think they have a moral obligation to also test it for these biases that might occur. I mean, I don't think they do it on purpose, but it happens in the model.
Yeah.
And if you don't test for it, if you don't look for it, you're not going to find it because it's huge. You don't know what your AI is doing.
It's too complex.
It's too complex.
Yeah.
So that is just a concern I have in these sort of creating solutions.
But then again, it's then an excellent idea just to start off, see where the value is in. So you can also find out, okay, where are my ethical boundaries, or where should they be, instead of you have to run into a production mode somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
It's testing. It's I made a plane and I haven't tested it, but sure, it'll fly. Yeah. And that is something that's going on right now. We're just going to put them out in the open because it's AI. I need to have my competitor advantage.
I don't want to miss out here.
Exactly, don't want to miss out. So just do it. And then figuring out in the production phase or while it's interacting with your customers that it's, well, maybe ethically not really good to have this out in the open.
Yeah. So this is why, business and technology, that fusion between them is becoming so much more important. You, as a CEO, you can't afford not to understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
You got to be in control on this part as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're entering a new territory, and you have to find out what's there for you.
Yeah. Because like you said, Jacques, it is about the trust with your clients.
Yeah, it's for you to find out what's there that you can use.
Yeah.
And the application is, okay, you have to gain the trust of your customers that you're doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And that's the ethical discussion, because the ethical discussion is always a personal discussion. There is no ethical law. It's what you think that's right.
Yeah.
And the you is the customer.
Yeah.
If he thinks or she thinks it's right, then it's not ethical use.
So that leaves us with one angle not discussed. So we talked about ethics, we talked about value, but it's also about solving new problems. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that part of this topic? You can do new stuff, but it creates new problems as well. Or it can solve problems that you couldn't solve before.
Yeah.
What's the part?
To me, I love looking at the opportunities that it brings.
Yeah.
If you definitely look at the more research-related AI stuff.
Yeah.
So there have been some research on, if you look at pictures of fMRIs, can AI predict what you are seeing?
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty good.
Okay.
Or even seeing what you're dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know I dream, but I never remember them. How awesome would it be if I could just...
be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, maybe not do that.
Wrong example.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we get this part out?
Maybe that's for after editing or that sort of stuff. Let's not do that. But it's amazing to see what kind of relations or answers these type of models can bring to the table. Mm-hmm. It's mind-boggling. We've never thought about that this could happen. So letting it go out in the world and explore and do things, besides all the ethical and moral depth. So I'm just talking a techie here. Yeah. There's amazing stuff that can happen. So I really like the opportunities.
So if you are listening and wondering, OpenAI, I need to step in. First thing to do is make sure that you're doing this together with business and you're thinking about that customer. So, that trust, that value part, combining that, go and experiment, find that value. Yeah. And the second step then is start experimenting in where can we find new problems, new areas of...
Yeah, and also coping with problems. If you look to OpenAI, I think the cases are there. For example, if you look to the Copilot stuff, will that replace a developer? In the consulting business, that could be a question. Mm-hmm. But also when you look into a company, research could be done by a GTP engine. Yeah. So what's left for the researcher? And that could be any employee. Yeah. We should not be scared about it because it will happen.
Yeah.
So the big question is then, okay, how will it redefine my work and what will my work will be? And that's also one of the applications. If you go for it, think on how will the new way of work look for a developer in this case, or a researcher, or anybody out there in the company.
Yeah.
Don't think of the problem, but what is the next job? What's the V2 version of yourself within the company?
Yeah.
And you have to explore it.
Jacques, what's in the final step of this podcast, what is your big tip for the CIO looking at this topic and thinking, oh, wow, where do I start?
What we're currently suggesting for a lot of companies, because you can talk hours on this one, and it will stay kind of a generic thing. Start a kind of lighthouse project, combine the information you have, all the kinds of information, let that engine run and see what information comes out of there. And from there, take it on to your business, to your customers, and not to the customers in person, but what could it do for the customer? What could it do for my employee? Yeah. So you can really start thinking about digital transforming your organization. Yeah. And it's just a mindset you have to get in. Yeah. What it will mean for you.
Yeah. Finding that value, start experimenting with lighthouses.
And we don't think those are super expensive or big projects you can do, but put it in your mind, put it to use to be prepared for the next step. And I talk to a lot of people, they think, okay, will this go that fast? We are now talking about ChatGPT like it's been there for ages. Yeah. It's been there for 5 months. Yeah. Yeah. Talking about speed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going fast. Michel, closing words to people working with the technology, doing experiments. What's your core message that you would like to give them? As if avoiding pitfalls, or remember this one because it's going to be
so generic. Yeah,
you're that consultant, right?
No, but because the field is so broad, and it's impacting so many people that just giving like pitfalls and that sort of stuff. I mean, of course, your data needs to be in proper order so that you can actually get the result that you want. So a bit of data governance is in place there.
We see still a lot of companies that don't have their foundations in the right order, right?
Of course, everything is stored in documents, movies, or whatever, and nobody has in 50 different languages. No clue what's in there.
Go fix your foundation.
Exactly. I think that is the most important part for working with this technology. Is start off with your data, get that in order, get the data engineering, data governance, get that in order before you actually start. And of course, if you are just experimenting, then it's fine that you don't have everything in order, but you're just experimenting, figuring out how it works, what it does, does it give some results. But it's if you start off with wrong data and you think this is going to be like your next best thing and transforming your business, then you need to test it very well because it's an age-old saying, shit in means shit out. And that is definitely true here.
So this is nice. So we're ending this podcast on the insight that yes, there's a lot to happen in the near future. We got to experiment. We're going to be on a journey that we can't really comprehend yet. On the other hand, fix your foundation right now. That's that's an insight that I didn't see coming, but it is true. It is true. Fix your foundation right now and start experimenting. Start working with those lighthouses of Jacques.
And do it with people that understand the context. So that the information could not be super right.
Because this is where you make sure that you have that trust level with your customers in the right place.
And it will be, and we call it a revolution in an article, but it will be a very swift and quick evolution.
Yes. Gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for your insights and this nice conversation. For the ones listening, So my summary, again, fix your foundation. And then start experimenting, because it's going to be a wild ride, and you want to be in there. So thank you again for listening. Watch out for that next podcast, and we'll see you again. Bye.